In this section, we're going to have a furniture overview or space planning of furniture. So some of the general guidelines for furniture layout is required an understanding of the activities that's going to go on in the space, what's going to happen. When you understand that, you can determine the context of the space in which the furniture is going to be placed. So some of the things you need to take into consideration when you're doing your furniture layout is that the spaces between the pieces as well as the pieces themselves. We have to be able to walk around and use the furnishings. Use the principles and elements of design when you're doing your layout with harmony, line, proportions, scale. And that seating group should consist of a sofa and chairs approximately 4 to 10 feet apart, with 8 feet being the optimum distance for conversation. So when you're arranging your furniture, mobility is a key factor. You want everything to be accessible to pieces of furniture, to furniture groupings, to be able to, in this illustration, to get to all the built-ins, move around it comfortably for seating area, move around it comfortably for the game table. Nothing is blocked. All pieces are functionable. So it's important to use the correct size furniture and pieces and the proper scale when planning. If you're going to keep any existing furniture, they have to be measured to be placed in correctly. Now let's look at these two illustrations. We have a door that comes in, and people can move easily around the conversation area. The conversation area is well defined, and the TV is set comfortably in the center, so no one is walking in front of the TV or having to move around each other to get to the position. It's comfortable. As opposed to this, there's the door, somebody's walking from between the conversation area of the two sofas, they're walking in front of the TV to get through another door. The scale of the TV is too small, we have this cluttered over here, and the coffee table is way over here. I don't know why. Poor planning. Now when we're combining living rooms and dining room combinations, and a lot of newer homes are going to have an open floor plan, they have to be planned carefully so that each space is defined and flows from one area into the next. As you see, we have the kitchen, the dining, and a defined living space. What helps pull all of these together is style of furnishings, color, and these area rugs. Without having a wall, these visually define spaces. Now when we're doing bedrooms, the focal point of a bedroom is the bed. They should not sit at an angle in the corner. They should not sit at the same wall as the opening. The best place to place a bed is the opposite wall of the entry. That creates that focal point. It doesn't take up, when you set a bed on an angle in the corner, it takes up a lot of real estate that is eating up space in the room. So this is the most comfortable and place to put the bed, opposite corner of the entry, or opposite wall of the entry. These are standard sizes of beds. We don't custom make those. So that you know that the size of the room will accommodate the size of the bed, and talk to your client. What do they want? Other things go on in the bedroom besides sleeping. So we use them for workspaces, for readings, for hobbies, depending on what the person does in their bedroom. This first illustration shows the bedroom that's used as a home office as well as a sleeping area. This half wall defines this as a very prominent sleeping area, and the other half is the home office. It's conducive, it's spaced well, it's planned well, as opposed to this poor guy who has bed, exercise, storage, sofa, computer room. It's a hot mess. The space doesn't look much different than these two. It's the way that the furniture is arranged and placed. Tables need a minimum of 24 inches per person, whether it's going to be a conference table or whether it's going to be a dining table. And the shape of the table should be compatible with the shape of the room. Don't try and put a round table in a small dining room. It's trying to put that square peg in the round hole. It just doesn't work. And make sure that this person has at least 8 inches between the seat of the chair and the lower edge of the table apron. Otherwise, somebody's going to get their knees banged. And the average table is about 29 to 30 inches tall. So whether you have a conference table, whether you have a dining room table, make sure people have that 24-inch space, that comfortable area to work in. Seating. When you're working with a coffee table and you're putting a coffee table in front of a seat, make sure that you have 18 inches between the coffee table and the seat. So if I'm coming in and I'm sitting here, I have space to walk in, and sit down. 18 inches is a comfortable reach span to set my drink down on, and then I can walk straight in and sit on the sofa. 18 inches, foot and a half. Other requirements is that you're going to need 3 feet for someone in a chair to extend their legs out in front. So it's important that you understand this, because there would be the footprint for the recliner when it's upright. Look how much more space that it takes. So if you're specifying a recliner or a chair with an ottoman, that you plan that extra space in. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Now, 3-foot clearance is required between the wall and other large pieces of furniture, like that recliner or chair, or a piano or piano bench. So pianos, and we're talking about grand pianos, not the little spinets that sit up against a wall. They're designed to sit against a wall. Baby grands or full grands, they are meant to face the room. The open side is towards the listener. So in other words, the music flows out and towards the audience. The person playing the piano sees their audience, as opposed to this one, it's set in backwards. Because here's the audience, the player's back is to them, and the music is flowing out and bouncing off of the wall. So make sure you don't make this mistake with grands. They face the audience. Televisions, on the average, this being seated, just like in the theater, depending on the size of the screen, depends on how far away you want to make the seating. So remember, measure the size of the room. Make sure that you have the space to set your seating far enough away, and let that dictate the size of the television that you buy. Don't just think, oh, theater room, great, we're going to go out and get the man-sized TV and put it in there. Well, if you only have an 8x12 room for a theater, it's not going to work very well, because you're going to be just the same as going to the movie theater and sitting on the front row. It's not comfortable. Let the room dictate the size of the TV by the distance that you have to set the seating away from the screen. So when you're using file cabinets or lateral file furniture, you have to accommodate for the drawer opening. So there's the footprint for the file cabinet, plus another 24 inches for the drawer opening, plus another 24 inches for the person using the drawer. The footprint of the piece, the function of the piece, and the person using the piece all have to be incorporated when you're making a space plan. A space for everything. So if a file is placed behind a desk, calculate for the cabinet, the opening, the person, the chair, and the desk. Typically, about 6 feet is required to accommodate all of these fixtures and people. So let's look at this layout, this design. Is it good or is it bad? I'm going to open a discussion group after this presentation, and I want you to talk about what's the space, what's the flow, is it workable, what are these pieces, do they work, is there enough room to accommodate everything, is it comfortable? Let's discuss this. Thank you.